Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking Mercury and what's on each of you guys' minds. So a little bit of background info to people who are here for the first time. Welcome. On my channel we discuss astrology in general. To my subscribers, thank you for tuning in. For the first time, you will probably notice that I have my notes with me. I have a notebook, and there is a very good reason for that. Some of you have asked me in the past, where is it that you're reading all the things that you're saying from? I was reading them from here all the time, not to like show off or anything. But today I have my notes with me because Mercury is in retrograde and I want to make sure that I do not forget any of the things that I want to tell you. Hence the handwriting and the notes and all that. So without further ado, let us talk about Mercury. Why do you guys need to care about Mercury at all? So first of all, your Mercury sign is not the same in general as your sun sign. Sometimes it can be because Mercury is the closest planet to the sun and it's never more than 20 degrees apart from the sun. But in order to find out what sign your Mercury is in, all you have to do is generate a free natal chart from the link that I've left in the description box down below. And you can just like look at it and see where your Mercury is placed. Like I said, it's either in the same sign as your sun sign or a sign before or after. What does Mercury rule in astrology and why do we need to care about it at all? First of all, Mercury is one of the personal planets, along with Venus, Mars, the sun, the moon. That means that it impacts our personality directly. So it makes us who we are. It doesn't just impact like random events in our lives. Mercury actually rules communication. So it rules the way we communicate. It rules how we communicate, the things we think about and the things we talk about on a day-to-day basis. It also rules short distance travel and commerce. So people with a very strong Mercury in their chart usually work in sales or have a type of work that involves transport. Mercury also rules youth. In general, mercurial people such as Geminis can seem a lot younger than they actually are. It also rules early education. So the education that we got in school and the things that we learn on a day-to-day basis. Siblings. So Mercury has a direct impact upon our relationship with our siblings. And last but not least, Mercury rules negotiations and negotiating styles. So again, it all has to do with communication. But the sign that your Mercury is in can tell us something about how you negotiate in life. It doesn't have to be in sales only. So let's kick off with Mercury in Aries. Obviously, I don't even know why I'm looking at my notes. It's always about you first, Aries. Ha ha ha. Mercury in Aries, people in general are very quick thinkers. They make instant decisions. It doesn't take them long to make up their minds. They actually make up their minds and then think about it and maybe reconsider. But if they've like made a step forward, then there's no turning back from that. They're fast talkers, fast thinkers. Everyone else is slower than them when it comes to thinking and making decisions, in their humble opinion. And they're very quick to jump to conclusions, my dear Mercury and Aries friends. The style of communicating that you guys have can be is in general very straightforward and very down to the point, very down to business, but sometimes it can be perceived as a little bit too aggressive by some more mellow characters, such as, for instance, Cancer. They might be like, whoa, stop it right there. What are you trying to do? Kill me with words. So yeah, that's just the Aries style of communicating, the Mercury and Aries style of communicating. So don't be put off by it. because it's quite awesome sometimes. You guys are very good in crisis. Like I said, decisions are made on the spot. So yeah, that's Mercury in Aries. Moving on to Mercury in Taurus. This placement in particular favors a step-by-step learning approach. And you can be really good teachers in general, because teaching is all about helping students build blocks of knowledge, if I may say so. I don't know if that's the best metaphor to use. You have a way of expressing things with simplicity, even the most complex things. In terms of what you like to think about, there can be an interest in the arts, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. And money can be a lot on your mind, because Taurus rules the second house in astrology, and that is the house of earned income. So money can be a lot on your mind if you've got Mercury in Taurus. Also, you can have a very beautiful voice, a charming voice, because Mercury also rules how we communicate and the means of communicating, and that is usually when we talk by employing our voice. And you guys can also be very good at selling either real estate or land, because let's not forget, Mercury is the planet of salespeople. Mercury in Gemini. Mercury here is at home, so to speak. So you guys, if you've got Mercury in Gemini, you've got a very agile mind. You're very open to ideas and experimentations. And you obviously have fantastic verbal and mental dexterity. It's hard to compete with you. Your mind is like quicksilver. You're very curious and get easily bored. You're a great talker in general, so you can find yourselves working in areas that involve a lot of talking and interacting with people on a day-to-day basis. And you can have some sort of liking for crosswords or like puzzles, word puzzles. I don't know if that's even a thing. Scrabble. You can like Scrabble, for instance. Mercury in Cancer. Woo! So this placement is actually very, very good for storing information, for remembering information, because Cancer rules the past. This is a great placement for a historian. It's a great placement for someone who records information on a daily basis. And it can also be a great placement for a restaurateur. I hope I pronounced that correctly, because Mercury rules selling and Cancer rules food. So you get where I'm coming from, the restaurant business, etc., etc. However, when it comes to remembering facts and when it comes to how you think about things in your mind, these can be quite skewed by your emotions, because, hey, we're talking Cancer here. Mercury in Leo. Very confident in expressing everything. Maybe even a little bit boastful in expressing oneself. You like to draw attention to yourself when you talk, and you usually do. You can be fantastic at bluffing. So, Mercury in Leo, I see what you're doing there. Pride, which is something that we all know characterizes Leo a great deal, can sometimes be an impediment in learning, because Mercury also rules learning processes, and Leo has a hard time in accepting the fact that they don't know it all. So sometimes pride can stand in the way of you progressing. Let it go, push it to the side. You can come across sometimes as a know-it-all. You probably know that already, because you are a know-it-all. My gosh, my jokes, God. And this is a great placement for banking, because Mercury, the sign of commerce, and Leo, the sign of banking, they go hand in hand. Mercury in Virgo. Again, we've got Mercury at home here, because Mercury rules Virgo as well as Gemini. A very skeptical but objective placement. I would have to say the most objective placement up to now. You are great at classifying and categorizing information, at prioritizing tasks. What do you like to talk about? Probably health and work. Let me know if that's the case. And those are also probably the main topics on your mind most of the times. You've got little tolerance for fools because you see right through them and you analyze them at a glance, and you've made their like technical sheet in your head. And this is a fantastic placement for any sort of specialist. If you work in health, all the more so. That's it. Now let's move on to Mercury in Libra. This is a great placement for counselors. And it's a great placement for reflecting each other's, for reflecting other people's way of thinking, way of seeing things. It's a very mentally empathetic placement, hence the counselor profession that might be really good for you. You've got a great deal of tact and grace that you employ when you express yourself, and that makes you, again, super likable and very charismatic, and a great company in general. You can also be very persuasive because you can see exactly where the other person is coming from and therefore mold your approach accordingly. Great placement for working in public relations and diplomacy. Libra, what can I say? Mercury and Scorpio. Although you are not a person of many words, you're actually a person of few words. When you do talk, you come across as being very witty. Well, you probably are very witty in your head. This is a great placement for one-liners. It's also a placement that's usually encountered in conspiracy theorists. And you can have an interest in psychological matters and human nature in general. You've got great mental stamina with Mercury and Scorpio. So you guys are the type of people that can stay up for like 5 nights in a row and study. You've got a lot of power when it comes to studying and learning. But you don't show it off because you mostly keep it all to yourself, because that's the way Scorpio operates. And then it just hits you when it finds the right time. I'm talking about Scorpio here. When you do speak, I said that you are a person of few words in general. You speak with a great deal of passion. And this placement can also indicate jealousy on siblings. So watch out for that. Mercury in Sagittarius. This is a placement indicative of someone who travels a great deal. Because Mercury is the planet of short distance travel, but Sagittarius is the planet of long distance travel. So there might be so much comings and goings in this lifetime. Oh my days. You could literally be on the road all the time. This is also a placement that indicates that the person is very open for having fun, very open to being entertained and entertaining others. You'd be a fantastic travel agent or tour guide because of all the travel influence in your chart. Although you are not the best with details, because Sagittarius just like glosses over details in life, you are a fantastic storyteller, and you can use that in a multitude of ways. I don't know, let me know how you are using it. You're very good at commenting on philosophical, religious, or political matters, because those are the things that Sagittarius cares about. And you can also be quite judgmental, because Sagittarius is under the impression that they know it all. And that's not the case with anyone in this life. So you may come across as being quite judgmental. But in general, people love listening to you, because you've got Mercury placed in the sign of the professor, of the teacher. So, yeah. Mercury in Capricorn. You guys are fantastic at disciplining your thoughts and at becoming very focused on one thing and one thing only. You've got an efficient and organized brain, because Capricorn rules structure and Mercury rules the head, the way we think. This is a good placement for a dentist or an osteopath. because Capricorn rules bones and teeth, and Mercury rules the attention to details. Therefore, we've got this really good and strong combination here. In general, Mercury in Capricorn is very careful with the things that they say, with the things that they let out. They like to observe from afar and only speak if necessary, because they know that everything they can say can be used against them. They're very, very cautious in that way. In terms of how they express themselves, they might come across as being very cool, sometimes even dry, but they also have a very dry humor, which people love. In terms of mentalities, they can be very appreciative of their father's way of thinking. Therefore, they might be a little bit on the conservative side, if you know what I mean. Mercury in Aquarius. That's actually my placement again. In general, Mercury and Aquarius people come to their ideas and mentalities independently. Mercury in Aquarius is always on the side of truth, and they like to think of themselves as objective, and they generally are objective. They can come across as being very opinionated. They can get into arguments over their beliefs with anyone. They have zero respect for whoever it is that they're talking with, as long as they know that they're on the side of truth. Sometimes they can come across as know-it-alls, just like Sagittarians. But in general, Aquarians come from a more objective and detached place rather than Sagittarius. Sincerity and open-mindedness are also two traits that characterize Mercury in Aquarius. And they can have, and I can have, a very quirky way of expressing ourselves. And our thoughts and beliefs and mentalities can be quite unorthodox. Hence, why we are so weird. Mercury in Pisces, last but not least. You guys are great at expressing yourselves through art. You can express yourselves through dance and music and all sorts of art. This is a fantastic placement for art therapy, because Mercury is the sign of the doctor to a certain extent, and Pisces is the sign of therapy. You can have telepathic abilities. You can get into people's heads. Make sure you use that wisely. You can be also very empathetic. You understand exactly, you can actually intuit where it is that the other person is coming from. However, in this placement, Mercury gives a very weak sense of direction, because Mercury is also the one that guides us. So I'm talking literal direction. You can get lost very easily. So make sure you've got your phone fully charged with you all the time. And let me just throw this away. Guys, this is it with your Mercury placements. Let me know what it is that you think about. First, find out your Mercury, what sign it's in and what house it's in, by going to the link down below. And if you are interested in getting to know your entire birth chart, what it looks like, I offer this service. So if you're interested, drop me a line on the email address that I've left down below. Let me know your thoughts, comment below, and if you've got any questions, send them over. I shall speak to you soon. Thanks. Bye.